very much for that. I want to just address two simple questions, one of which is, what does the infrastructure bill mean for all of this, given what we've just seen here? And we have written in our letter to President Biden, urging him that, yes, if you want to bridge the digital divide, by all means, you need money for infrastructure for broadband. It should be wired broadband, not wireless. And it is absolutely false to say that 5G is going to bridge the digital divide. 5G is a marketing plan to make people buy 5G phones, 5G routers, 5G monitors, 5G devices, because 5G only works if you've got new equipment, which is, many of you know, is very, very costly in the United States. So we know, as Dr. Benishai just said, we know that the 5G antennas use between 3 to 10 times more energy than the 4G antennas. And it has been called an energy vampire. And I've written about this in op-eds, and we have on our website, we have information available on the different patterns. And we know that in China, where they had installed 5G, they started turning it off at night. People were not using it. I want to address another question we got technically about the mice study that Dr. Taylor presented. The cell phones were right at the water bottle of the cage, so they were not very close to the animals. That's really important to understand. Now, these mice had thin skin, and it takes only 3 weeks for them to go from pregnancy to birth. But the exposure was not that great. That is why he says, keep your phone away when you're pregnant, away from the abdomen, away from the body. There's massive implications of this finding as well for the recent auction of 5G spectrum. We think that 5G needs to be rethought, and we need what is called safe G. This is something that Kate Keel and others working on 5G have been advocating for some time. We need technology to be as safe as possible. And as we heard from Mr. Clegg, he believes this industry is capable of doing it, but we have to require it. And we means we the people, not just the Congress, not just the FCC. That is why please join us at Environmental Health Trust. Support what we're trying to do here. Join our Patreon. Help us to reach more people with this message. Those of you in Canada, please join with Mr. Clegg and his organization of Canadians for Safe Technology, and make sure that you ally yourself with those who are seeking to promote more safety. I'll now turn to Ms. Scarata, who has a few more comments, and we'll address a few questions, but we will post all of this online. It will be up as soon as we can get it downloaded, which is going to take some time, but I think it will be later today. Ms. Scarata.
Thank you. And I know that people might be hopping off. I put in the chat that you can hop off. We will have this available due to CHG's press conference, which is starting. So there are a few things that were addressed in the questions I wanted to go to. One is about the, when companies say it's safe or when it's in the lease. And in the video with Ed Myers, we also addressed that. And just for clarity, the 1996 limits are the limits now that certainly stand, the 25-year-old limits. So it certainly can't be said that there has been a review in 2019 that has that has legs, because what has been shown by this court, as Robert Berg talked about and Edward Myers talked about, is that that is now in question because they weren't able to substantiate it with an explanation that made sense. So they're asking for that. But I wanted to point out something important related to 5G and the question about that and other lawsuits. So starting with 5G, the FCC actually opened up in the same 2019 decision in which they said, there's no problem, we're keeping our 1996 limits. They also decided to make new exposure limits for large swatches of higher frequencies and lower frequencies. That's in 19226, the docket 19226. And they based their rationale on that by their opinion, which was the one that we filed on, that there was no problem with the current limits, which are based on thermal heating and on the work that has been done decades ago. So now that has a question. And I would add, and perhaps legal experts can respond, that docket 19226 remains open. Environmental Health Trust has been continuing to submit regularly the new evidence into that docket, because it says that, hey, we can take these higher frequencies for 5G, lower frequencies for wireless power transfer and other applications, and make new limits. And we don't have to worry about it because of our determination that there's no problem with 1996 limits. We also put in the latest two-part, it's actually a three-part, but only two have been published so far, the review on environmental effects by Dr. Henry Lai, Blake Levitt, and Albert Manville, former U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service lead biologist on the issue of cell tower radiation. I also wanted to mention from the questions here that yes, there could be implications which need to be addressed, as Ed Myers told me on the interview that we will have online, related to the Berkeley cell phone right to know law, as well as the lawsuit related to the class action suit on people who bought cell phones but were not informed that they shouldn't be close to the body. Because at that time, the FCC sent in, did a filing saying, look, we know that these levels are safe, even if we exceed those levels, there's this large safety margin. But now the court has stated that that wasn't substantiated in their 2019 determination. So I guess that is for the lawyers to determine, but it does lend important new information. The one other thing is that related to cell towers, you know, and are they safe? The court really found or stated in their ruling that the FCC failed to address the impacts of long-term exposure. That is just, they also pointed out, they didn't address, as was stated at the beginning of this call, long-term exposure was not, the FCC didn't explain that. Impacts to children, the testimony of people injured by wireless radiation ignored, and there was a complete failure to address impacts to wildlife and the environment. And as well, when it comes to human health, impacts the developing brain and reproduction, all of which was on the record. So please stay updated with us so we can continue to get this information on the record, to hold them accountable and to ensure all federal officials are aware of what's going on and that they can get answers to questions like, how did this happen? When the EPA wrote me, and this is now on the record, which I've placed on the record and which was in the amicus brief by Natural Resources Defense Council, the EPA stated in a letter to me their last review on this was in 1984, and that they were not aware of any agency that had done the reviews, they certainly hadn't, on impacts to a brain, like, you know, there's research showing memory damage, impacts to the brain, certainly not birds, bees, and trees. So all of that is new information, and I hope that the FCC will open a docket or utilize the current document and be current docket, which now has additional information, and really look at a full review of the science.
And I heartily agree. Let me just add that we are looking forward again to the new administration doing the right thing because they have an opportunity to do it. I want to announce that Professor Taylor and I will be convening a small continuing medical education program at Yale University, where we will review the latest science, which was not looked at by the FCC, on exactly what Ms. Scarrato was just talking about, the impact on the brain, the impact on reproduction, the impact on sperm as well. And we have many, many questions that we cannot answer here. We'll throw many of them to Mr. Berg to answer with you directly. What grounds for appeal this creates, I'll leave to the lawyers to figure it all out. But the fact of the matter is, as both Mr. Myers and Mr. Berg indicated, the current standards remain, but the FCC must revisit them and must show a reasoned record of rational decision-making with respect to the evidence that was submitted. And they failed to do that, especially with respect to wildlife. And those of you who are interested in that issue should see the excellent article just published by Blake Levitt and Henry Lai that Ms. Scarrato referred to. So now I'm pleased to ask Frank Clegg, the chairman of our Business Advisory Council, the leader of efforts in Canada on this effort, for a few closing remarks.
Thank you again, Deborah. I want to thank you and Theodora directly and the rest of the team that did such a tremendous amount of work. As you said, there's thousands of pages of testimony that has to be organized. Robert and Paul, thank you for your excellent comments. And I'd just like to make a comment, as an international invitee, we said this at the beginning, what the FCC in the US does has an impact that ripples around the world. So we're sitting here trying to figure out how can we use this. And I know there's other peers of mine around the world leading other organizations and advocacy groups trying to figure out how we can use this. So I want to thank you again for your work. I want to thank the almost 400 people who attended. If you're not engaged in this topic, I encourage you to do so. If you are a member of the any kind of legislature, I encourage you to use this outcome and this precedent-setting ruling in any way you can. So again, thank you. Thanks to the attendees and thanks to the panelists. And I look forward to the next steps in this incredible journey.
As do we. And thank you to all. Have a good day. Bye-bye.